Good morning, retail traders. I'm Washboardjim with the Sneaky Snake trading strategy, and I'm going to show you an easy way of trading the SPX every morning, or at least if the setup is there for you, same as a SPY. And I use a SPY VWAP to kind of use it as a confirmation sometimes to be trading the SPX. Excuse me. So I call this my beach trade. This is the first hour of the day, first half hour of the day. Sneaky snake trading, a beach trade a day will keep the collectors away. So in this strategy, you got to be able to know your little reversal candlestick patterns. Copy and paste this if you like. Put it on your desk. You got to be able to know chart patterns. Copy and paste them if you like. Google bullish, bearish chart patterns. And get familiar with them kind of patterns as you learn to take this trade. So you got to know your candlesticks, that's for sure. So this is the SPX. You got to be in the now. You got to know what's going on, how the candlesticks are looking. So here on the SPX, we had 3 weeks. This is the weekly time frame. We had 3 weeks of selling. And I called this out in the room. I said, hey, we're going to pull back to this 21 if we don't hold this 9 here. So you could probably short it to the 21. And we made it to the 21. Then the next week, we created a green candle. Now this is a bullish harmony. Bullish harmony. So we had 3 black crows with a bullish harmony, and then we got this here hammer. Could be a shooting morning star above the 9 EMA, which keeps it bullish. So as long as we stay above the 9, we're bullish. Or we could go ahead and retrace back to the 21 EMA. So we got the 9 EMA, the 21 EMA, and then we've got the 50 SMA and the 63 EMA down here. So if that doesn't hold that 9, I would short it down to the next one. Maybe. So we had a good 3-week sell-off. I called the top a tweezer top. We had a tweezer top up here. That was an exit idea. Then we had the 3 black crows with a harmony candle. And then we had this here morning star or almost a dragonfly. It could be a hammer. But it looks kind of like a dragonfly if it was just a little bit more thinner. It still looks kind of like a dragonfly, but it's above the 9, so that keeps us bullish. That's going to be our support level. I'm going to go ahead and draw a price line right on that 9 and right on that 21. Actually, I'm going to bring it up to the body of this candle. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to the yearly. Now you can tell in the yearly we've had a pretty good sell-off the last 3 or 4 weeks down to that support level. How'd that get on there? Thought I took them all off. Let's look at this real close. Just leave it right there. If I'm going to put my alert, I'd put it above it. Maybe right on that candle right there, on this body right here, on this weekly one. Just in case it pulls back and hits that next week, I've got a pretty good support level right in there, which was resistance, and now it can become support. So now we're going to go to the yearly. That looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. We had some lower lows right here, almost a double bottom. We did have a double bottom right here. A little bit lower low, but not much on the daily. And we got to break the 50 SMA on the daily, so that's going to give us a little bit of resistance. So now I know all that. I'm in the now. I know I got to break the 50. and I know I'm above the 9 on the weekly, so that means we might be squeezing this coming week. We tried to break the 50 before and couldn't do it. We tried it again and couldn't do it. Maybe we can do it now. The market has digested what Powell said. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He just does not have a clue. I'm going to make that perfectly clear. He's behind the curve, and he does not know what he's doing. Me, screw these interest rate hikes. I'm more concerned about the poor people than I am about these fat cats that can afford all this. Inflation's just way too high, and it's not helping. So the 50 SMA, I mean, this has gone on for 2 years. So I'm in the now. We got to break the 50, and we got to hold that support at 50.28. So now we're coming in the morning, and I know that I'm at a resistance level on the 50 SMA. We had a big old bounce this week to the upside after the Pow speech. Big old bounce to the upside, and we broke resistance on the 5-day. So we're looking at the 20-day, and we busted past resistance on the 20-day, and we're above the 200 SMA, so I know that we're bullish, and that could be a support level, and that was that old resistance of the 9. So I'm going to set in a support just right above that for an entry. So I come in here Monday above that 200 SMA, above that 9 on the weekly, and I draw out the snake. So I know I'm close to that spot. So I come in here and I'm looking at the trade. We had a nice little pullback. We had a huge breakout. And then we created a new high, and then we created the correction. Now, I did buy a put in this trade. I was really starting to worry about it once we broke the double top. I added on, and then we had that nice little pullback, and I said, yeah. I was really tickled about that trade Friday because I was really concerned. And then I caught a falling wedge. It's not a real impressive one, but it is a falling wedge. This is on the 1 minute. So we had this, we had the falling wedge, and we had the breakout. Now this is important to understand this whole scenario. So we had the falling snake, and then we had the breakout, and then we had the pullback. This is the time where you want to get into the trade. You have the pullback respecting the old resistance, and that created a hammer right there. And that was the ideal spot to get into this trade because it respected the old resistance. Now, if you can count to 3, you can trade with me. If you can count to 4, you might make a little bit more. I'm going to redo this line right here and make it real accurate. I'm going to show you how to do that. Take and put your line right on the body of that candle and run it up to the next body. Run it up to the next body and keep it a little bit above it. Make sure it's right on it. Don't go down in it. We're going to extend this to the right. So I teach people how to count to 3 and how to count to 4 if you want to make more. So if you want to count to 3, you can trade with me. If you want to count to 4, you might make a little bit more. This is when this scenario comes in on the knife. Body of the candle touches the trend line. 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 Body of the candle touches the trend line with a dragonfly doji right here. We have the breakout. We have full body candles outside of the trend. It comes back and retests, and that's when you take your entry. And you set your stop right down here below this. So if you can count to 3, 1, 2, 3, you can trade with me. If you can count to 4, you might make a little bit more. So we came up here, we started creating a flag. It came up and did not touch that trend line, but did come back down and touch this one more time. So this is the sweet spot. Anything that goes on, you're getting closer to the squeeze, and this is the sweet spot where you really got to start paying attention to the trade. Then we break out, and I've got a knock on the door. We broke out of the channel. Wait for the pullback. Jump in the trade. Then exit at the double top. That ain't a double top. Let me tell you, it is too. Because when I'm sitting here trading and I'm up about $400 or $500, $600 a contract, I'm going to get out at that double top right there. I'm going to get out. I'm going to take some profit. So when you break out of this channel, you might have a little bit of things that are in your way. And here we created a little inverse head and shoulders. You got in the trade and you bounced up, and then you started pulling back and you got a knock on the door. Your support level's right here. That's your bottom right there. So you draw a price line all the way across, and you got a double bottom. So you take that double bottom and you add on to your position if you did not get out on the pop. Then there's a second entry right there. Then you can go ahead and run it on up as long as it respects that 9. Now right here you got the 9 crossing over the 21. Then they both cross over the moving averages. And it just kept going up, 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 up. And then you had the double top idea to get out of the trade. As long as it gets close to that top area, you know. There's many places where you could have got out of that trade. But that's it. It's all importance. When you're in that snake and you get the breakout, pull back, and then you kind of look around and see if you've created a flag or what other pattern you're going to get out of this. And in this case, we got a double bottom. We got a double bottom with a head and shoulders. And then it went ahead and broke that head and shoulders, and then that head and shoulders now becomes support level if it ever does pull back down to it. That old shoulder line will now become a support level. So we took the trade after the breakout right here. That's where we took it off that hammer. Off that hammer right there. See that hammer? After it pulled back to the top of that channel, and we held on to it. I went in and cooked a grilled cheese sandwich. It started pulling back on me again. So I added on to this here double bottom with another dragonfly doji right here with tweezer bottoms all the way across. So that was telling you to get into the trade. We had a doji right here, and then we had that butterfly doji right here. So learn how to read them candlesticks. Look for them patterns. Now see, you could have taken and maybe drawn it like this. You got that top right there, and you got that, and then you got the 1, 2, 3, which is another flag. And you took the trade at the double bottom down here for an entry idea. Does that sound confusing? I hope not. We're looking for a falling wedge at open. We're looking for a pattern. We're looking for a pattern. And once that pattern's formed, we want it to retest the top resistance of that pattern and then break out. And then that's the ideal spot to get into the trade. Continuation patterns to the downside. Continuation pattern. This is coming out of a snake. You got the knife, and you're going to find these kind of patterns coming out of it. And that'll be some kind of idea on how you want to take the trade. You're going to look for them bull patterns. Inverse head and shoulders, a bullish flag, an ascending triangle. You got descending bearish flag. Inverse head and shoulders, falling wedge, symmetrical flag, double bottom, double top, symmetrical triangle, and rising wedge. All of them can tell you when to get in and out of a trade. So let's find one more example. We were overextended to begin with. We were up too high, so I knew we were going to pull back. We had too big of a breakout, too big of a jump in here. Huge bounce. And just a huge bounce. And I knew this thing was going to pull back. And I'm so glad I took this trade. And then I got in the double bottom and scored going on the way up. See what else we got here. And look at Tesla. Here you go again. I talk about different ways of taking this trade. So we're going to clean this up. This is Tesla. So, been trading with Zach Morris here lately, and he's got a way of looking into the morning and then for a support level and a resistance level. So we've got the high right here of the morning, which kind of accumulates right in there. And we're going to put a little trend line, price line right at that top of this candle right there. Then we're going to come in here and we're going to put one at the bottom. Now look at this. You have a triple bottom support right here. 1, 2, 3. Triple bottom. You have a double bottom. So you come in the morning. You're coming in the morning and you know that you've had a great run to the upside in the morning. So the thing's bullish. But we need it to pull back. We need it to pull back. It's Tesla. You're fighting against the hedge funds. You're fighting against all the fat cats. Everybody's got their eye on Tesla. Okay? Everybody looks at Tesla because it's in the top 7 stocks. So it's always one you want to go to every day and see if you get a pullback and you get a trading opportunity. So here we go. We had a real huge breakout in the morning, real huge, and we count to 3 and we get out at the triple top. We know that we're bearish. So it starts to come back down. I'm going to draw my snake in here. That's the knife. I'm going to take from that body of that candle to the body of that one, and I'm going to push it to the side. So we came down here and we broke out of that box, and then it came in here and failed again. It went down below it, and it just kept hovering on top of that box on the way down. And I was waiting for the bottomless pit to take this trade. And then I open up the doors and I look at previous day, and I see we had a bottom here, we had a bottom here, and then we came in and touched that triple bottom. So if you can count to 3, you can learn how to trade with me. 1, 2 bits, and 3. But we're not going to put that in there right now. So we're coming in here, and we see the triple bottom, and we take the trade. Because we know a triple bottom is a bullish signal to go to the upside. Triple bottoms are buy signals. Triple tops are sell signals. So we take the trade, and we run it up, and we scalp it to a triple top right here. So we had the snake break out, pull back, and then it pulled back to a triple bottom and then bounced. Got out of the trade. You have a yin yang right in here. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 to the 200 SMA, the 200 SMA, and get out of the trade. And there's your scalp of the day, and you're off to the beach. That might have been 40, 50 bucks a contract, 60, maybe $100 a contract for that little bounce, because you went down so far. I mean, that probably paid off pretty good. So I'm sitting in here and I got another knock on the door. I sold it at that 1, 2, 3 triple top. So I got in at a triple bottom. If you can count to 3, you can trade with me. If you count to 3, you can trade with me. So I'm sitting here watching it again. I'm going, get a knock on the door. Hey, Jim, I spotted an inverse head and shoulders. What do you mean? Yeah, I sold the triple top and I waited for the pullback and it created an inverse head and shoulders. Are you kidding me? Did you wait for the right shoulder to touch before you took the trade? So I'm sitting here looking at this trade now. I've already scalped it once. And then I see the flag. God darn it. If you can count to 3, you can trade with me. So I take the body of that candle to the body of that candle and I extend it on down. So we got a flag here. We got a flag. We know that this is a triple bottom support. Whoops. And we know we got a head and shoulders. So I'm going to extend this to the left. You see this right in here? See this right here? See this right here? Watch this. Boom. So there's your left shoulder. There's your head. We broke out. We came back and we retested that shoulder line. We kept retesting that shoulder line. And while we were doing that, we created another inverse head and shoulders. So we got one here. We took the breakout, run it on up, sold it at 1, 2, 3. And then it came back and retested that shoulder and created a new head and shoulders, came back, left shoulder, and then the right shoulder, and we got into the trade. Again, 1, 2, 3. It's so simple. If you can count to 3, you can trade with me. 1, 2, 3. 1, body, 2 body, 3 body. Breaks out, 1 body candle breaks out of the trend stack, and then it comes back and retests off the 50 SMA, and then we went ahead and run it on up and scalp this head and shoulders. This is all on a 1 minute. I've had so many traders say, it's not right, you can't trade with a 1 minute, you're not a good trader. 1 minute time frames are for fools. I'm getting in these trades way before they do. I'm spotting bullish and bearish candlestick patterns before they do. So I know what angle where I am in the trade before they do by looking at any other time frame, because I'm ahead of them. Not like Pow Pow, who is behind. I am ahead. I'm ahead. I'm looking at a 1 minute time frame. I'm getting in them trades on confirmations of a 1, 2, 3. Boom, baby. So we got a head and shoulders up here, which is an exit idea. And then what happens? We got 3 black crows. And she runs back up again and breaks that resistance level. Again, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just nailing it on these 1, 2, 3s. And a lot of stocks do that. If you can count to 3, you can trade with me. So I took it on the triple bottom. after the fact. I had people, that ain't a triple bottom, and they'd be looking at the whole day. I'm looking after the snake, after the knife. It starts a whole new game plan. You know, everything before that, I don't care about. I'm going to trade what's coming after. So I've got a 1, 2, 3 here, and I got higher highs, and I know we're getting ready to break this here head and shoulders right here on this. As it goes up, you got your left shoulder and your right shoulder, and it just keeps on going and breaks on out to the upside. And that's off the 1, 2, 3. And I run it all the way up. Man, this thing's starting to get some momentum. 4 engulfing candles. I mean, I've had enough. I'm up another $100 a contract, and I got 5 of these suckers. And I'm out of this trade within 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm waiting for the next trade. Then all of a sudden, I decide to go ahead and hold it. And I'm getting worried. I get a knock on the door. Jim, man, I didn't listen to you, and this thing's knifing on me. I should have got out, like you said. I said, well, hold on. I've got these moving averages on here for a reason. And if we can hold this 21, you're going to be able to get out at that double top. So just hold your britches. We got a rising wedge here, or another head and shoulders on the 1 minute, inverse head and shoulders. And it came back and retested that right shoulder and then got out at the double top. And I get a knock on the door. Damn it, Jim. I didn't get out at the double top. I'm below. I'm worried. I said, well, we got a hammer here. I mean, it don't look good, but let's count these as soldiers. And we got a tweezer bottom, so I think you might have another chance. So we got a triple top. Now, just get out of the trade and quit playing games. Wait for it to hit the 200, because you could have hit the 200 here and bounced on up. You need to identify them weaknesses. See, this is a lower low. It's a double top off the wick, but on the body it's a lower low. So that's bearish. That's bearish. And that's why you had the pullback. You didn't have a complete double top. You had a double top with a wick and that lower. So that's the case. Get out of the trade. And that's all on the 1 minute. So if you can count to 3, you can learn how to trade with me. And I make it as simple as I can with this trading strategy that I got. And then we bounce off the 200 into the end of the day. Boom, baby. If you can count to 3, you can trade with me. If you can count to 4, you just might make a little bit more. So we pulled back to that 200 SMA. That's on Tesla. You understand? See how easy that is? I walked you through that whole trade. Triple bottom, triple top, inverse head and shoulders, triple bottom, triple top, breakout, triple head and shoulders, triple bottom, triple top. If you can count to 4, you can make a little bit more. And these are good contracts. Hitting off the 200 and run it up here, that's probably 30, 40, 50 bucks contract. You get about 5 or 6 of them. In a matter of 10 minutes, you're out with 250 bucks. So learn these patterns. Learn them. Learn these candlesticks. Learn them. Take all weekend. Screw everything else. No dinner tonight, honey. You're cooking. I'm going to get you a diamond ring next week, because I heard Washboardjim talking about the sneaky snake trading strategy, where it's all about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. Remember, if you can count to 3, you can trade with me. If you count to 4, you just might make a little bit more. If you count to 5, you might take a nosedive. Have a great day. I love stocks, Vegas.